Hey, Nick Unsworth here. Welcome to Life on Fire TV. And the whole purpose of this show is to help you set your life and your business on fire, meaning help you love what you do for work, help you enhance your productivity, help you basically just live life to the fullest, be the best version of you and live full out. So today, in the spirit of helping you live your life and your business on fire, we have Perez. So he's a good friend of ours. And Perez, his background is actually with branding Fortune 500 companies. So he worked in a big, fancy agency, and they did branding for huge mega brands. And what happened was, he just wasn't really happy with his career and his job. And I think what's so cool about him is that he had that desire for more, and he acted on that prompting. He said, you know what, I only live once, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for the dream. I'm gonna go big. I want that freedom. I wanna be my own boss. And so he walked away from his high-paying, big job back in New York, and he started branding for the people. So what does is helps entrepreneurs take their dream, their message, their marketing, and to drive it down into a very tight brand. And Ree's actually the person that branded Life on Fire. And he and I, with my business coach, we came up with the name, we came up with the mission. Well, I had the mission, but he helped me come up with like the logo and everything. And so it was pretty awesome. So Perez is a good friend, and he is the best of the best when it comes to branding. So if you are interested in attracting clients, if you're in business, if you're interested in building a movement and really helping people, then this episode is going to be awesome for you. So stay tuned.
Hey, what's going on? Nick Unsworth here, and I'm a kick-ass business coach, and I'm on an absolute mission to help you find your purpose in life, to help you love what you do for work every single day, to help you be the rock star that you are meant to be, to make more money than you ever thought was possible, and to have more time freedom so you can actually enjoy the life that you're living. I'm here to help you set your life on fire.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring up my very good friend. And what I love about this man is he is the gentleman who I worked with when I was confused and reinventing my life after the balcony moment and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Working with a coach, working with Ree, he helped me create Life on Fire, and I will be forever grateful for him for that. And he is so good at what he does. He's got a lot of wisdom he's going to share here today, but he helped me build Life on Fire and get out what was in my heart and how I want to serve and how I want to help. Ree has started with helping and designing and branding large Fortune 500 companies, so he's been doing this for years. And for his passion and his movement and his mission was, instead of working with these huge big box brands and companies, he wanted to do it for entrepreneurs. And so he is the best of the best of the best. Before I bring him up, I do want to just point out one quick thing, that this is a photo of me after I did the board break last time. And I was so excited and fired up. I'm like, ah, right? So I tagged Ree and Nikki in this photo because I was just excited. I'm like, I can't wait for Ignite. And then all of a sudden, here's what I find out through the grapevine. Somebody copied my branding move. But Ree, we're such good buds. He's a great person. He's incredible with branding. I want you to stand to your feet, and let's give a big, warm Life on Fire welcome for my buddy, Perez. Branding for the people. Staying up here with you? A little bit. My man.
So, anyway, first of all, thank you. I'm so honored to be here. So, first of all, Nick and I are good friends. He didn't tell you, if you knew, has anyone ever not seen me tell the story about Nick and I? Kind of new. So, when he talked about the balcony, I mean, it's literally, when you're working with a branding agency, you really want to just give up control and working.
So this is what we do to Ree. When you make fun of me with that move, we kill your audio. I mean, so just just a warning. You know what I mean? I'm playing.
No, but seriously, so I have worked with Fortune 500 companies, but what's so exciting about working with people like Nick is he has that fire and that passion and that energy. But the thing that I was going to say in working with him is that particularly like high performers like Nick, when you're branding, you really want
to be able to give up control to some degree because you allow other people to help you. And, you know, we had a little bit of a tit and tat back and forth.
He almost fired me a couple times.
He wanted to have a blue flamed logo for his brand.
I just wanted a blue flame. You
That's
know,
a blue
is that
flame
the
logo.
worst thing ever?
And the criteria was it had to be good enough to be able to be tattooed
Yeah.
on your butt or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I am getting a tattoo here.
Oh, maybe I added
Backwards.
on the butt part.
That's where Ree wishes it's be tattooed.
But so actually I have a question for you, and then because I'm actually going to be building off what you just talked about in terms of brand positioning. I'm going to go deeper into that. But for you, Nick, in that process, if you could just like, what was that going through the branding process? Because it's very elusive for people, right? They understand branding, maybe some of the tactical or the tangible things like websites, but what was that process like for you?
So this is good because I always thought of branding as logo. You know, I just want a logo, dude. You know, a logo, and that was my thing. I just was obsessed about a blue flame. And but what he helped me see is that it was a much bigger global strategy. And I think one of the coolest things is that when you think of branding, there's a couple huge things that you did to stretch me, and this is again why mentorship and coaching is so important. Is that when I talk with you about branding, I'm thinking like $1 million business. I'm thinking like maybe it gets to you know, a $10 million company. But when he did the branding, he stretched it, and it's like, let's think 100 million. Let's not go blue flame so that this can't be used on shirts and things like that, because it's just like, not everyone wants a blue flame, you know? But that stretched it to where it was like, wow, he showed me the Life is Good brand. That's when it really clicked, is when I looked at the Life is Good brand and how they had their architecture and everything, and it was like, it stretched me to think way bigger than I was thinking. And it wasn't just logo and design, it was the whole architecture and the system behind it. So I think the first thing is that it can stretch your vision for your company. And then the next biggest thing is that, and I'll be quick on this one, is that the next piece to it is, I think when your brand creates a way of living for you, that is when it's powerful. So for example, Life on Fire, we have certain values. You know, being a workaholic and being on fire it doesn't work. You know, that was one thing that creating this brand, this will always keep me honest because I have tendencies. I mean, I think a lot of entrepreneurs do, but I have hardcore addiction tendencies to like be a workaholic. I love what I do, so I could do it all day. But you know what? Because of this, because of the brand and the values that we set, I'll never forget when one of my best friends was getting married, and we just started Life on Fire. And it was like, we're doing this promotion, and I was like, I've got a buddy getting, you know, he's got a bachelor party in New York. I don't think I can do it. And he looks at me and just goes, but dude, are you going to be living your brand? You know, your buddy's only getting married once. He's one of your best friends. And I was like, you know what? You're right. That's the point of this thing. I want to enjoy the journey along the way. And I think so when you think of your brand, like how cool is it that you can build something that keeps you in line or honest and keeps you with where you want to be. So this always informs what's going on. If we get too busy, then we always ratchet it back and think, you know what? That's not the brand that we're living. I have to be in integrity with what the mission of this thing is. I can't be a workaholic, you know, 7 days a week and trying to coach people like get more time back, you know? So it can keep you, it really is a way to change your whole lifestyle too.
That's a good point. It's a way of life. So, and by the way, talk about way of life. We're actually rebranding Nick. Now, don't worry, we're not going to see a blue flame logo, but like every brand, I mean, every big brand if you look after them, every big brand is going to evolve over time. Why? Because Nick is evolving. Nick's maturing. I mean, he's expanding. Not that you were
like a butterfly,
but his brand is also evolving along with him, which will allow him to create more verticals and businesses and really take his vision even further. So I'll show a little sneak preview of that, and I think I'll need this sucker, and then we're going to make fun of you, actually.
All right, so do I need to get off the stage for that?
All right, brother. It's good to chat with you.
Have at it. It's like a roast of me today. It's all good.
All right. I got the flame here. All right, so first of all, how many people ever worked internationally or overseas? Is anyone? How many people have left a high-paying six-figure salary or got fired or left a corporate job? Is that it? Okay, wow, quite a few of you. And how many of you have ever fallen in love and had your heart broken? Some of you didn't raise your hands. How many people have broken people's hearts? A little over 5.5 years ago, I left New York and I fell in love at the same time, and I got this position, this big position at a big consulting firm in Dubai in the Middle East. And through a series of life-changing personal events, I went through a breakup. And for me, it's not like I go through a lot of breakups, but it was just like it hit me at my core. And it really had me come back to New York and try to figure out what did I want to do with my life. Why was I going to Dubai? Was I running away from something, or was I running towards something? But it's actually kind of interesting because Dubai is probably, I don't know why I would move to a place where it's illegal to be who I am, but I was there. So thank God we went through a breakup, actually, and I went back to New York, and I took about 6 months off to figure out what the hell I wanted to do with my life. And kind of like Nick was saying, it's like, I just didn't want to work with Fortune 500 brands anymore, and I really wanted to work with brands that were making some sort of economic and social impact in people's lives. That was what I had said 5.5 years ago. I also went to Sedona, Arizona. Has anyone ever been to Sedona, Arizona? So yeah, so I really got connected on from a soul perspective, like what I was out to create in the world and what I wanted to do, and that really triggered it for me. It's like, what about branding for the people? And the concept was born, and it's just been nonstop ever since. Over the past 5 years, we've worked with a range of small businesses, coaches, speakers, experts, event planners, the Sage team that's here. So there also a lot of Nick's community is here. Like Stephanie Sheehan's here. She has a podcast. So clearly our message and our positioning has worked, and it actually helped to attract people like Nick Unsworth to come work with our agency. So what I want to do today is actually teach you a singular concept, which he started to talk about, which is brand positioning. How do you position your brand to be able to achieve rapid growth? Are you guys up for that? All right, cool. So, actually, just real quick, this is the current from his current website. We really wanted to have the new website launched for this event. Didn't quite happen yet. If anyone is in the web design development business, you know that there's always things to test and develop. But this is just a little sneak preview of his new website that's going to be coming out. And Nikki and Kendall is also going to be talking shortly, but this is using some of the new photography that Nikki has done too. So this is just a little sneak preview, but it's really going to focus on where Nick is taking Life on Fire as a business. Okay, so why branding? Why even listen to what I have to say today? So there's a story of an 18-karat gold pair of earrings, and a professor asked a group of students, how much would they pay for this 18 gold pair of earrings? And they said, well, $550. He then asked a second group of students, how much would they pay for the same exact pair of earrings, but it was branded Tiffany? What happened? It increased 60% to $873. Here's where it gets interesting. He asked a third group of students, how much would they pay for the same exact pair of earrings, but it was branded Walmart? What do you think happened? It decreased 85%. Now, both of these are big brands. They're great brands. It's just knowing where you're positioning and targeting your business. Do you want to be the Tiffany in your category? Do you want to be the Walmart of your category? Knowing that is going to influence pricing. So why branding? It has a direct impact on your business and how much people are willing to pay for your products, programs, and services. Okay, so here's the thing. Virtually anything can be branded, whether it's a company, a product, a person, a city. But very few people can give you a definition of brand. They talk about the importance of it and whatnot, but I'm going to give you my definition. So I say, what is a brand? Can anyone recognize all 5 of these logos? All 5 of them? Yeah? All right, who's one lucky person that wants it? Who's brave soul? Yes. What's your name? Okay, Jonathan, what are all 5 logos?
IBM, Rolls-Royce, Apple, Sony.
Oh, very good. Very good, yeah. That's pretty good, yeah. Most people don't get Sony because they think it has to start with an N. So great job, Jonathan. So what is a brand is my question. So I'll tell you that brand is not your logo. It's not your tagline. It's none of these things. And so if that's the case, you might be asking yourself, what is a brand? So I'm going to give you my 3-word definition. This is the definition that I've used in my career, working with Fortune 500 brands, but also small businesses and entrepreneurs. Brand is a desired perception. Write that down. If brand is a desired perception, you technically don't own your brand. It resides in the minds of the people that you're communicating to, right? So therefore, branding is the process of creating and shaping and influencing the desired perception that you want to create with your target audiences. Now, this is distinct from what you actually do for a living. So think of FedEx, right? They're in the business of delivering packages, but their desired perception is that they deliver peace of mind. When you think of Harley Davidson, they're in the business of motorcycles, right? But their desired perception is freedom on the open road. And if you think of Disney, they have amusement parks and Mickey and movies, but their desired perception is wholesome entertainment. So branding really is just what's the core concept of your brand that drives everything downstream. Does that make sense so far? Okay, cool. So I'm going to build on this. So I'm going to give you 5 tips to position your brand. My first tip is, this might sound really plain English, and I actually like to communicate in plain English rather than giving you a lot of branding jargon. So if I use branding terms, I'll explain it with plain English. So be clear on who you are and who you're not. I would say that just how we're positioned, and I'm almost a big advocate of practicing when I preach. Now, this chart is something that you may or not be familiar with, but consultants love 2x2s, right? So as a branding agency, I needed to figure out how are we positioned in the marketplace. Well, there are branding agencies that target Fortune 500 companies, and there are branding agencies that target small businesses and entrepreneurs. Then there's branding agencies that are highly holistic and strategic in their approach, or there's some that are more specialized or tactical. They focus on a specific area. Now, on the upper left quadrant, this is called a positioning map. On the upper left quadrant are the big consulting firms. These are you may not know of them because they worked on the big brands. It's more of a B2B kind of brand, but I've worked for 2 of those brands, those companies. Holistic, strategic, Fortune 500. Then there's some that focus on more websites or digital or design-oriented. But when I went into the entrepreneur space 5.5 years ago, and Nick is very familiar with one of the resources that's on this bottom right quadrant, is what did I find? I found 99 Designs, CrowdSpring, Fiverr, other graphic designers and marketing coaches and web designers, or my cousin or my nephew or my brother can design my logo. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with these resources. I actually say if you're bootstrapping it, for example, sometimes these resources are useful from a design perspective. But we're looking at it from a holistic, strategic approach. I found that there was a hole in the market to deliver high-level branding and strategy for entrepreneurs. And that's where Branding for the People was born. So this kind of positioning maps helps you determine where are you positioned in the marketplace. How do you differentiate yourself from other people that do the exact same thing that you do? Knowing that makes it clear to be able to say yes to certain clients and no to other clients. Do you guys make sense so far? All right, cool. So now how do you position that brand? What are the 3 things that you look for? Well, you look for what can you own. So it's got to be credible. You got to be able to own it. Like I can own having a Fortune 500 branding background, right? But it's also got to be unique and differentiating in the marketplace. I've met lots of branders. I know lots of branders, and I think what is a unique angle for us is, just even our approach. We do workshops and events with our clients for positioning and strategy. That's kind of a unique approach. I've been doing that for 5 years. What's relevant to your target audiences, right? What do they care about? So it's the same thing for you. It's trying to figure out, it's got to fulfill on these 3 things. Can you own it? Is it unique or different in the competitive landscape? And is it relevant to your target audiences? It's the intersection of these 3 is where you want to best position your brand. Okay, number 2, and Nick touched upon this. Align your brand with others align with brands that elevate your own brand. Now, when I just started 5.5 years ago, I was sitting in events just like this. I left the big company. No one really knew who I was, and what I did is I did events, just like Nick. But what I've done, and I've spoken on some of these people's stages, I've connected with people like Nick Unsworth. I branded 90% of these people on these pages, and for me, that helped to elevate my own brand, put us on the map, put our agency on the map from just a one-person show to having 4 full-time employees in an agency where we're running full service. So, and actually, I know there were some thrivers here, I noticed, but Nick introduced me to Cole Hatter, who we did some strategy work for, who then I did some work with Tucker Max, who I met at Thrive. So it's just, positioning is really important, and align yourself with brands that elevate yours, right? So, anyway. Also, because of this positioning, I don't know that we would have been able to get the title sponsor for Infusionsoft, the company that actually sponsored breakfast this morning. So in March, we're going to be the headline sponsor for Infusionsoft. That took, thank you. Yeah. That's 5 years of like building my reputation and brand for our agency to be that kind of sponsor. Okay, have a distinct voice, number 3. Have a distinct voice. What does that mean, really? It's really have a personality. We all have personalities, right? Have your unique personality stand out. You know, you can look at each of these talk show hosts, right? They all have distinct personalities. They're all, talk show hosts. But Rosie O'Donnell is brash versus anyone watch Wendy Williams? She's like that fabulous kind of thing versus Oprah. They all have a distinct voice and personality. And the clearer your voice and your personality can be, and sometimes they even say that you really want to be polarizing with your personality. You rather have people absolutely love you and have raging fans versus, and there are people that are going to hate you. It comes with the territory. There's always going to be that 20% of the people that have nothing nice to say about you. You can't control that. But you can focus on the other 20% of the people who are going to be your raging fans. And that's where I focus my energy. And then the 60%, the people in the middle, these are like followers. They can swing either way, right? You can influence them, for sure. But I'd rather have a raging fan client than just a middle ground client, because we can help take them further, right? So having a distinct voice and personality is key for that. Okay, just being mindful of your time. So number 4, be everywhere. If you look at Nick, he's on Facebook. You turn around, he's like right there in the bathroom next to you. He's at an event. Be everywhere, because visibility really gets you more exposure. And I would say that we don't do a lot of sales cold calling. We have business that comes into our agency, and I think it has to do with a lot of over the years, all the mini touch points, hustling, going to events like this, networking, speaking. It takes work, I'm not going to lie, but being everywhere is so critical. And that just means being everywhere online and offline. That's really my main tip for you. Now, my last one, it's going to actually sound funny after I just said what I just said, is don't be everywhere. What I really mean is be discerning. Be discerning with where you're aligning and positioning your brand and who you're connecting with, right? So I'm going to give you this map. For some people, this completely transformed their lives in terms of how they're approaching their positioning. There's 2 things you want to ask yourself when you're thinking about where you want to be. Where do you want to sponsor? Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to JV or partner with? If you don't know that term, JV. But you look at 2 things. What's the degree of impact that it's going to have on your brand and ultimately your business? So it's either going to have a low impact or a high impact. The second thing is, and this is important, what's the revenue potential or the impact on revenue, right? Minimal versus maximum. Okay, it's pretty clear. So when you populate this chart, on the bottom left quadrant, right, low impact on your brand, minimal impact on making money. These are people you might want to refer to someone else. They're not an ideal client for your business. So you refer them to another resource. The second option is they have a low impact on your brand, but there's huge revenue potential. Now, low impact, we're using just in the context of the framework, but these might be your bread and butter clients. This might be the clients that keep your lights on. Now, I'm not saying to take clients that you really shouldn't work with, that are mean or annoying or overly demanding or anything like that. You obviously want to work with clients because it's your business. As entrepreneurs, I know that this is your time and your life, and giving your time to someone else is really key, but these could be your bread and butter clients. They may not really help your overall positioning of your brand, but they keep the lights on. Does that make sense? So you're probably wondering what the other 2 are, right? And that's saved for later this afternoon. I'm just kidding. Just want to make sure you're paying attention. Okay, so on the upper left, these are strategic positioning clients. You may not get paid as much, right? Like a big name celebrity, right? You may not get paid as much, but it has a huge impact on your brand. Just like if you ever worked for corporations, it's kind of like when you work for a certain company, like just having that company's name on your resume automatically helps set you on a trajectory for a career path. Same thing with having position clients. May not be the largest revenue potential. You might just be able to cover your costs, but the return is on the long tail. right? The last one is your ideal positioning clients. And these are really, you get the sweet spot of really having highly qualified people who are great positioning clients, but that can also afford the full value of your services. Now, this framing of how to make decisions about certain clients is so key because this allows you to not just take on every client. Now, Nick says, I know that a lot of you want more clients. I will just amend that for my own positioning and saying, why don't you get more clients that are your ideal clients? Because not everyone with a credit card is meant to be your client, right? So focus on these, understanding where your clients fit under this, this quadrant page. Okay, so in summary, be clear who you are, align with brands that elevate yours, have a distinct voice, i.e. a personality, be everywhere, and don't be everywhere. Be discerning. Okay, so that being said, here's what I want to do is just check out all of our free resources online, brandingforthepeople.com. Sign up for our newsletter. We give a free gift right after our newsletter. That's the best way to stay in contact with me if you want free resources. And we push out great content. We're very rigorous with our team. Our team is very rigorous about the content that we push out just to educate and elevate your understanding and awareness of your brand. There's two reasons why you would be wanting to work on your brand. Either A, you're just starting out and you need to focus on how to position your brand, or B, you're established and you need to maintain your position. Like Nick was saying, there's some people that, like I branded some people and a lot of people copy their work. You have to maintain and constantly move ahead, take that next step. Can't put that picture back on here, Nick. So anyway, that being said, brandingforthepeople.com. Thank you for your time. If you're interested in talking with me, I'll be back out here for the next 2 hours in the booth, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your event. Thank you for your time.
Let's get it now.
Give a hand to Rico Perez.
All right, so hope you enjoyed the episode with Reed Perez, and I would love to catch up with you on lifeonfire.com. We've got all the notes there. And again, lifeonfire.com, interact, come by and say hello, say what's up. You know, catch us on Twitter, share up the content. You know, we're putting a lot of hard work into the show, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you have feedback, if there's someone that you want to see on Life on Fire TV, just speak out. We would love to help. If you have any questions about your business, productivity, you name it, get your questions answered. Come to lifeonfire.com, interact with us in our community, and be a part of it. Be a part of the whole show. So also, we'd love for you to subscribe if you're on YouTube, and if you're watching on iTunes or listening on iTunes, also to subscribe and write a review. So can't wait to catch up with you on the next episode, and have a great day.
I'm here to help you set your life on fire.